minute, 2 minutes or so. But a lower start is what the market is indicative of. Well, that was the Maruti management, by the way. Auto sales are in focus, and I mean, we'll continue to decipher implications for stocks. To help us do that, Basudeb Banerjee is with us of ICICI Securities. He tracks the space. Basudeb, good morning. Good to have you back on the program. Thanks very much. You just heard from the Maruti management. We've been getting commentary from others like Bajaj, etc. yesterday. Any implications for stocks from here? Anything incremental which you've learned looking at the numbers for November?
No, so not only for Maruti, the good part is across the PV side, even for Tata Motors or Mahindra, not much significant divergence between wholesale and retail. Unlike the two-wheeler space where for the second consecutive month, the divergence has been quite high. So, for example, sequentially, despite festive season ending in October, two-wheeler retails were slightly better. Whereas mostly if you look at for Bajaj or TVS or even Hero, month-on-month two-wheeler wholesales are down by more than 20% odd. So from that angle, I will say passenger vehicle retails, which are more or less in line with even pre-festive season months. So obviously October is a seasonally strong month. So even post-festive season, the quantum of retailing hasn't declined massively in line with seasonality. So that's a good part. And waiting period for many of the models being still there. People not getting models within 3 to 6 months post-booking. So new launch momentum will kick in from next calendar year. So PV is definitely going well, both on retail and wholesale front. Inventory levels are under control. A main thing to look at is from two-wheeler perspective, where destocking has been quite aggressive in past couple of months.
Basudeb, for two-wheelers in particular, will you bring down your production estimates for the full year for Bajaj Auto or TVS Motors? And what is the volume growth that you're anticipating now? And is it lower?
No, that's what I'm saying, that if you look at two-wheeler retail numbers, October and even now in November, the numbers are indicating full year volume of almost 17 million odd plus, which is pretty much a strong growth. But whereas wholesale numbers, which are undergoing inventory destocking, is not reflecting the right picture. So now it's almost 4 weeks after Diwali. One cannot say that a delay in registration trickling into retail numbers. Definitely, it is strong retails which is happening even now. So if this momentum continues, my sense is from January itself, wholesale will start roaring in for two-wheelers also, where December anyways is seasonally not that a great month for wholesales.
All right. Hi, morning, Basudeb. So how do you approach the space then? What's your top pick?
So from a long-term investment perspective, in the two-wheelers, our top pick remains TVS Motors. So no change in thought process, just from few months here and there of wholesale retail. IQ volume crossed 10,000 units this month, which is a milestone for TVS Motors. And in the passenger vehicle space, definitely the leader Maruti Suzuki is there, where finally the UV launch momentum is picking up. And the prime driver for the stock price will be the margin recovery. So Maruti has done well in 2Q, and with favorable input commodity prices, crude softening a bit, but definitely it will be favorable for them in the longer run.
Basudeb, you track the ancillary space, tires, etc.?
Yes.
And is something changing there at the margin? I mean, Apollo Tyres has done well, some 7-8% this week. C8 is up some 4-5% this week. Any thoughts?
So definitely, if crude touched $80 a barrel from the levels of 95 a month back. So definitely crude derivatives constitute a big chunk of raw material basket for tire companies. And Apollo specifically, they are giving good visibility of free cash flow generation. So debt reduction, improvement in ROC through improvement in margin will be the key trigger for Apollo, where valuations are much below the peers like MRF and C8 tires. So valuation catch-up, margin improvement outlook, and debt reduction. So all those three things combinedly giving boost to Apollo's market cap.
Hero MotoCorp announced a price hike effective 1st of December. Have you heard from the other players? Are they planning to increase prices?
See, price hike from them are like not everybody is doing all together. So somebody are followers, somebody are leaders. So it's not necessary that if one player is taking, others will be taking at the same time.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, Basudeb, for stopping by and giving us your take on the sector and the individual stocks as well. But good time to go across back to Mitesh for our 9:10 call. Mitesh, run us through the call.
Nigel, I would recommend a buy on Hindalco around on a mild decline, let's say around 458, 459. Keep a stop below 450. Look for targets of 475. Disclaimer: we have some call option positions here.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Mitesh. Well, interesting. Hindalco and the likes, they've opened up more or less flattish. The metal index yesterday, it popped up in trade. The dollar, though, that's weakened considerably. So let's see whether or not at some point of time we see a bit of a fillip that's come in there. But the metal index has seen a good bounce in the last 10 to around 15 days or so. So let's see how things shape up. On the ferrous front, though, I'm a little bit more cautious because domestic prices are still at a premium in comparison to imported prices. So let's see how that shapes up, Prashant.
I mean, the other space, apart from metals, is IT, which had a very nice pop. I mean, stocks like Mphasis, Mastech, Persistent, apart from, of course, the large caps like TCS, Infosys, etc. So we'll see how these individual stocks really open up this morning. Let's look at Policy Bazaar as well. I mean, there is this big block which has happened, lots of demand, coming through. I mean, all of that getting absorbed pretty swiftly. That is opening up 4.5%. So at the margin, we've been pointing out that there is interest which is coming through. Prices have fallen quite a bit, and people are willing to at least take a bet right now that maybe for now the damage is done and there is a little bit of bottom formation. That is the one name out of a lot of the other new age companies which is starting to see interest. I mean, we had Nilesh Shah recently with us, who kind of outlined the same. Of course, they've been early holders from the time of the IPO.
Even for Zomato, right? Earlier this week when Alibaba sold on that day, the stock actually ended higher. And then later we learned that there were names like Temasek who had bought into that block deal.
Yeah, and of course there is, let's have Paytm up as well. Maybe take a quick look because there was the analyst meet yesterday. And as we highlighted earlier, there are some upgrades, some more constructive commentary, etc., which is coming through from the analyst community. 507, 508. So that's another space you may want to watch out for. There is also, of course, the added tailwind of, the benchmark sort of risk-free rate in the US going down, which is a 10-year yield. That was down a big 10 basis points. That kind of helps at the margin as well. Now, Chris Wood, who writes the sort of well-covered Greed and Fear note, has made changes to his Model India portfolio. Nimesh is standing by for more on this. Nimesh, hi.
Hi, Prashant. So he has made changes in both the Asia long-only portfolio as well as the India portfolio. As far as the Asia ex-Japan long-only portfolio is concerned, as far as India, he's removed Godrej Properties and replaced that with Macrotech Developers with a 6% weight. So that's one stock, Macrotech, to watch out in today's trade. And in that portfolio, he's cut down the weight on Bajaj Finance